Veteran broadcast journalist VinMartin Obiora Ilo has urged the Igbo to shift from complaining to building a more united and formidable front. Ilo spoke at the August 2025 edition of Nkata Umu Ibe, a monthly distinguished speaker series organized by the Center for Memories. The renowned broadcaster pointed to how internal divisions and the lack of vision among some Igbo political leaders have held the region back. He also challenged Ndigbo to become a stronger, more independent body, one that does not just speak but leads. The theme, Igbo Ebezina, reclaiming the Igbo voice in the national conversation, focused on Igbo history, political identity, calling on Ndigbo to reflect, unite and take action.
When a couple of years ago, I started hearing about the efforts of some Igbo sons to put up a center that will, among other things, focus on Ndigbo, our history, our culture, our contemporary issues and challenges, and of course our future, I was cautiously optimistic. Optimism because I knew the pedigree of those behind it, but curious because I knew it was a tall order, a Herculean task. A few years later, I am happy to reveal that my optimistic expectations have been surpassed, and I'm amazed by the progress already made by the Center for Memories. Ebezina could be a word of consolation, a word of encouragement, hope, or even a reprimand. In some situations, Ebezina can be a call to action. The truth is that Ebezina, stop crying, derived from Ibakwa, crying. As much as it is used to express or address pain, loss, deprivation, or even maltreatment, if it lingers and becomes a recurring decimal or situation, it could be seen as a sign of weakness, disadvantage, failure, or defeat. And they'll be calling you cry baby. Sometimes it's marks of inability of a person or group to identify challenges, confront it, overcome it, and rise above it. So today, I'm arguing that this crying by Igbo people needs to stop. Igbos have cried enough. It is time to take their fate in their hands. Ndi Igbo have to retreat. Ndi Igbo have to re-strategize and re-examine how the Igbo nation is engaging with the rest of Nigeria, how we are confronting our many challenges, how we are collaborating among ourselves, and how to prioritize our needs as a people. There is no doubt that Ndigbo have over a long time faced existential threats in this country, Nigeria. For Ndigbo, the word marginalization has become synonymous with our complaints about the challenges we face in our nation today. Some have even taken it further to say that Igbos are not only marginalized, but hated by other tribes in Nigeria. So I ask this evening, are Igbos marginalized? The greatest marginalization against the Igbos, it is not the marginalization by other tribes, but the marginalization of Igbos by Igbos, especially the elites and those that have been entrusted with leadership positions. What is the situation? In the last 26 years, the 5 states of the Southeast have collected trillions of naira in federal government allocations. And add that to their internally generated revenue. Also add extras from ecological fund, the occasional windfalls, and the billions the individual state governments have borrowed or grants they have received from international donor agencies. When you look at these humongous figures, tell me, does anywhere in the Southeast look like an environment where this kind of money has been spent, utilized, or invested in? Does our schools or hospitals in Abakaliki, in Oka, in Enugu, Owerri, or Umuahia reflect the recycled huge amounts the states budget every year for education or health, ditto for other sectors? In all the Southeast today, show me one standard and functional hospital of repute that is run by government that provides affordable health care for Ndigbo. And I ask, ụmụnne ọ bụ na nwa Mgbeke amara akpụ isi ka ọ bụ na agụba adịrọ nkọ? At a point during the Jonathan administration, Igbos held many strategic positions. Where did those positions take the Igbo man? At that time, how did our brothers and sisters use their positions to the advantage of Ndigbo? Or did they just use it for personal aggrandizement? Thank God for Peter Obi and Labour Party, which made it possible for Igbos to be counted in 2023. Unfortunately, with all his efforts, the presidency still eluded Ndigbo. Still fresh in our minds is the 1999 betrayal of Dr. Alex Ekwueme at the PDP convention in Jos, and other opportunities where Igbos just flunked it because Ndi Igbo worked against themselves. And we are talking about marginalization. Nigeria stands on 3 tripods: Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. Is it not worrisome that while the Hausas and Yorubas have taken more than 1 turn in the presidency, Igbos are still docilely waiting? My question is, waiting for who? Power is taken, not given. One of the biggest issues in Nigeria today is state creation. And what you hear in Igbo land is a staccato of voices and cacophony of presentations. Discordant tunes that may deny the Southeast its right to getting at least 2 more states. It beats the imagination of many, not just me, why Igbos, for something as important as this, are not speaking with one voice, or even in a room having a conversation about it. Why did governors of the Southeast, or Hanez and Ndi Igbo, not convoke a meeting before now to make an effort towards consensus or come up with a well-articulated strategy or to demand for additional states for the Southeast? Tinubu is today the Nigerian president. Because of Tinubu, everyone in Nigeria knows the meaning of Emiloko. For the man, also known as the Jagaban, to have the audacity to say it was his turn, there was a lot of investment and planning. He was not given power. He took it. Some even says He seized it. While Tinubu was governor, and after he left office, he invested and continued to invest in human beings. He left office in 2007. All over Yoruba land, Tinubu identified young leaders, made some commissioners, gave them positions, mentored them, and empowered them. He guided and protected their political growth. One became vice president, some became governors, some became ministers, and many ended up in the National Assembly. His mentees were everywhere, pulling strings, including in other regions of the country. And we saw what happened in 2023. For 16 whole years, Mr. Tinubu never sought office. Rather, Mr. Tinubu provided a ladder for others to climb, while his contemporaries in Igbo land were busy betraying their kinsmen and contesting for any available office with people young enough to be their children. For 16 years, Tinubu organized the Yorubas. Of course, not all Yorubas agreed with him, but a good number of them bought into his vision. Tinubu also knows how to engage other tribes. As part of the 2015 election approached, he, with other opposition leaders, gave birth to APC, where we learned he had to give up the vice presidency just to ensure that the coalition project succeeded and Buhari became president. He allowed his commissioner to become vice president. He didn't say it must be me, because he had a nation's agenda, the Yoruba man's agenda. He knew that that would help it. So he stepped down. He killed his ambition at that time. Under the AC platform, 4 years earlier, Tinubu had supported another northerner called Nuhu Ribadu, if you remember, who is today his national security advisor. Today, Bola Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. Ndi Igbo must define their purpose, their objective, and their mission. Ohaneze Ndi Igbo should be repurposed and made relevant, or a new organization should be founded. As the apex socio-political body in Igbo land, Ohaneze must reflect that status in character and in action. The Ohaneze and Igbo leaders should stop sheepishly following state governors and political office holders about. Ohaneze should be the voice of reason and provide the proper direction for Ndigbo. Our wealthy sons and daughters, both at home and abroad, must get involved with raising funds to support Igbo causes. If organizations like Ohaneze are well funded, they will be more independent and they will be able to appropriately represent Ndi Igbo interests rather than the interests of transient political office holders. Collaboration is key to development. Actually, collaboration has become the currency of today. I believe that for the Southeast to make any intentional progress, the 5 states of Southeast need to work together, and we need the governors to drive it. In the early 90s, former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezife, God bless his soul, championed the Think Home philosophy, which encouraged Igbo entrepreneurs to bring their businesses home, including those in diaspora. There is no better time to do it. But now, every day our brothers and sisters doing business in other parts of Nigeria and the world complain of attacks from their hosts. Ndi Igbo needs a Tinubu who will demand and seize the presidency. We need rich Igbo men who will identify credible and trustworthy politicians and invest in them. We need our own Tinubu who will look the rest of Nigeria in the eye and tell them, "Nke a bụ oge nke anyị."